All right, what's going on? It's Ishmael Sistrunk with the St. Louis American and STLamerican.com. Here today with Rams Insider, Palmer Alexander III. Right. Palmer, today marks the first day of actual real practices for the Rams players today. Right. We had a big crowd out. It was open to the public, had a lot of media out. What were your first impressions here as we start the legitimate practices here for the team?
First of all, it's always good to finally look at the end of the month of July. You know, training camp starting. And it was great being out here. Obviously, a lot of anticipation with the Jeff Fisher factor, as you can see with the large crowd that came out today. And I mean, this is one practice as we move up toward the regular season, but again, a great start already for the Rams.
Right, and we saw a lot of energy from the players. Steven Jackson especially, he even talked about it a little bit afterwards, but you know, we saw Steven Jackson running hard. We saw even after the play, he was running all the way down to the end zone, get a taste of that end zone in the preseason. That was good for him. You know, he said a little bit of that was to get in shape, make sure his conditioning right. And some of that was to show the younger players, you know, hey, this is how you work. This is how you work hard at it.
Absolutely. I mean, Steven Jackson, one of the longest tenured Rams, and we was talking about some of his numbers. He's over 9,000 rushing yards. I mean, he's only a couple thousand all-purpose yards from catching Isaac Bruce, which he's going to do. And again, just like you said, when he made that run today, that was letting everybody know you run hard, you finish every play hard. Didn't see that from a couple of guys today, but that's why he took the ball and did what he did today.
You know, this time of year, I like to get your conditioning up. You know, no matter how hard you train in the offseason, it's kind of hard to duplicate or simulate what's going to happen in the game. So try to get my long burst in when I can.
Another thing I noticed, you know, Sam Bradford looked crisp. He completed a pass to Danny Amendola, you know, when they were doing 11-on-11 or 7-on-7s.
Yes.
And, you know, the crowd erupted. Danny Amendola is a fan favorite. You know, he's always going to work hard. But when he caught that pass, everybody out here, you know, jumped up and down and cheered like this was football on Sunday.
And, you know, I guess the thing is that last year there was no Danny and there was no Sam. Sam had the injury issues with his ankle. But now you got them both together and they have the best chemistry.
Right.
You know, so far on offense. Obviously, Sam has some chemistry with Denario as well. He wasn't out here, you know, due to an injury. But Danny and Sam have a great chemistry, and again, you see that's why he was this go-to guy.
Right. And you know, since we're on the topic of receivers, looking at Brian Quick, what'd you think about him today? To me, he looked pretty solid. His hands were good. He looks strong. He looks, you know, pretty fast. What did you think about him?
And I think he looked that way too. But I think what also helped him is that the rookies got to show up to camp early, so that gave him more time, more reps, more passes to catch, and he knows that he's come to St. Louis to start. He didn't come in to be a guy fighting for a position. They drafted him to be that guy that they can count on down in and down out. And look at some of the catches that he made today. Again, showing the willingness to go over the middle and catch balls. He's showing that he's a very reliable target for Sam Bradford.
Absolutely. So I'm going to pose this question for you because this is my first year really being down here at Rams Park, or Continuity X Training Center as it's now called. But you've been here for the past couple of years. Is there any difference that you notice in this camp or this practice as opposed to the beginning practices from last year or in years past?
Yeah, you know, Martz had his own way of practicing, tempo. You didn't see him spend a lot of times with the defense. Practice was spirited. Linehan, it was just dull, and it just kind of the way they practiced. You wasn't surprised by the product you saw on the field. Same thing with Spagnuolo. You just didn't get that buzz. Okay, and I don't care what nobody says about, oh, you can't judge practice. Sometimes you can tell a lot about a team during practice. Today, the way that these guys practice, they're out there to prove a point. Right. And they're out there to prove that we're not going to settle for 6 or 10. We're not going to settle for 7 or 9. Why not shoot for not just the playoff, but even the Super Bowl, and why not? And that's how they're practicing. That's how they practicing today. And that's what really was impressive.
Yeah, you definitely got to have that intensity in practice. That's what I like to see from Steven Jackson. They talk about Jeff Fisher, say he doesn't say a whole lot in practice, but when he does, people listen. That's the type of respect that he brings. So hopefully we'll see that make a difference. It seems as if it has so far in practice. So, you imagine that if they keep doing that, it's going to carry over into the games.
Absolutely, and barring any major injuries, that I think there's no reason why you shouldn't be optimistic about the Rams and the direction that they're going. And even if they have some injuries, look at some of the depth that they have on the roster now. Bringing in Rocky McIntosh, Kenneth Laws rather. So they got depth all around, and the guys on depth, they're going to be capable of filling those gaps. So again, I think Jeff Fisher and Les Snead is putting a system of checks and balances together so this Rams team can be able to continue to keep moving forward.
Dad had to walk through this morning, and you saw it. It was good. They were moving around good, and it's good to get everybody on the field at the same time, and trying to monitor reps. But we had no issues. I thought we had a good first day.
How about
right? And as we move forward, as the Rams move forward with practices, with scrimmages, fill us in on details of that.
Well, practices, they're going to be practicing pretty much every day at 3:30. Make sure you check online with us at stlamerican.com to find out what practices. I know the next practice, which is free to the public at the Dome at 12:30, August 4th. So make sure that you guys come out and see your Rams grow before your very eyes. This is that time, people, to come out and watch the St. Louis Rams and watch this new regime take over, man. It's a great thing. The Rams are reaching out to the community. They want the community to be involved. Let's come out and let's support this team from day one.
Yeah, and as I mentioned before, there were a lot of fans that came out today. Cars all over the yard around here. Players were signing autographs, definitely making that effort to reach out to fans.
Yeah.
And there is definitely a buzz in the city.
Man. It's just a good spirit. I mean, we had a couple of, Ali hung out with us from the St. Lunatics. Animal from the Legion of Doom hung out.
Right.
Just a lot of movers and shakers coming out. There's something big about to happen in St. Louis, and I think we're watching it right here.
All righty. Well, thanks once again, Palmer. Thank you for tuning in. Once again, I'm Ishmael Sistrunk, the St. Louis American, stlamerican.com. You can follow me on Twitter at InTheClutchSTL. On Google+, just search for my name, or on stlamerican.com.
Right.
Palmer.
And you can follow me or watch me on Talk Sports with Control Chaos, and watch me and the rest of my great colleagues at the St. Louis American at stlamerican.com.
All right, thanks for tuning in.